We
are
cultivate.
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 Cultivate. We are cultivate.
Hello and welcome to Ye Olde Crime, where we discuss the funny, strange, and obscure crimes of yesteryear. I'm your host, Lindsay Valenti, and joining me is not only my sister and co-host, Maddie Stengel,
Hey. Hi.
but also our good friend, the lovely Alex of the Underbakke clan.
Oh, hello. That was an intro.
That was an intro.
I love it.
You and your peeps.
My poops.
Full disclosure, we are re-recording this episode, so it's probably going to be a little unhinged.
A little?
Yeah.
It's already off the rails before we even
It's already
started
off the
recording.
rails.
So,
Not even a minute in, we're like, oh god.
yeah.
Almost forgot to record this one.
Yeah. It's going to be great. Just wait,
Be
you
great.
guys.
Yep.
Perfect.
So, we will be discussing the Jennie Wade House, which Alex and I went to visit
Yes.
during our first podcation
Yes.
That's such a cute name.
when we went out to visit Ashley and Emily. I will not geolocate more than that.
Nope.
Let's get started. Information was pulled from the following sources: 2020 Civil War Ghosts article, 2020 Only in Your State article by Beth Price Williams, 1863 Chicago Tribune article, American Battlefield Trust Civil War biography, the brochure from the Jennie Wade House self-guided tour,
Mm-hmm.
Find a Grave,
Love it.
Gettysburg Battlefield Tours, the Journey National Heritage Area, and Visit PA.
Love it.
And I'll have links to all of these articles in the show notes. Want to be social with us? You can see pics from this week's episode, bonus content, and funny memes on X at Ye Olde Crime Pod, or on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube at Ye Olde Crime Podcast.
Speaking of YouTube, we have a special playlist just for our Can You Crack the Cramp Word segments with our guest podcasters to see who can correctly guess the meaning of some obscure Victorian slang terms. If that's your thing, check it out.
Now, Jennie Wade, whose birth name is actually Mary Virginia Wade, was born on May 21st, 1843, in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Can we just say that her name, like, where did you get Jenny from, girlfriend? Like, where
Yeah.
who, what, when, where, why? Where did you pull that one out of? It's like when someone has just, oh yeah, his name is Lucas, but we call him Sam. It's like, where?
Yeah.
Two of these things are not the same.
Where did that come from? Her parents were Captain James Wade Sr. and Mary Ann Philby, which is an adorable last name.
That is cute.
Definitely.
Jenny was also the third of 6 children, with twin elder sisters that included Martha Margaret, who was stillborn in May of 1841, and sister Georgia, who was born in July of 1841.
The names.
Yeah.
The names are just
Martha
extra.
Margaret.
Yeah.
The cuter name is the second one.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the first name. It's never the first name.
It's never the first name. It's always the second.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Rude.
She also had 3 younger brothers: John James Jack, who was born in 1846, Samuel Swan, who was born in 1850, and Harry Marion, who was born in 1855.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They really kind of let that one go.
Yeah. I hope they called him Harry Mary.
Harry Mary. That's what the kids call him on the school ground. They're like,
yeah.
Harry Mary.
Yep.
If you hadn't said that she had 3 other brothers, I would have thought you were just naming all the brothers in like a very long, like, oh
Yes.
my gosh, okay, a lot of kids in that family.
Now, as we kind of alluded to at the beginning, it's been theorized that Jenny's nickname was actually Ginny or Gin, but due to a printing error
Yes.
following her death, the nickname of Jenny stuck.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Ginny is kind of a cool
Ginny.
nickname.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Yeah.
Jennie helped to provide income for her large family by becoming a seamstress like her mother. Her father, unfortunately, spent more time in jail than with his family and was
Great.
often absent from the household. Even though he was a tailor by trade, his continued run-ins with the law saw him later admitted into a mental institution.
That's awful. Like,
That is.
how bad do you have to be institutionalized?
We don't really quite know what the run-ins with the law were. Like if he had like a drinking problem or
Right?
He was
He
stealing
like
babies.
stalked
yeah, he's
somebody.
stealing things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Aggressive.
Yeah. It's also interesting. Their entire family is very fashion oriented, like seamstress,
A
tailor.
Yep.
Maybe he stole the runway too much, and they're like, "You need to go straight to jail."
Do
Literally.
not pass go. Do
Literally.
not collect $200.
Literally.
Yeah.
You had too much slay. Now you got to stay in jail.
Forever.
Yeah, I love that so much. You too much slay. Now you gotta stay in prison.
In prison.
Yeah, in an institution. XO.
Kisses. Now it's believed, thanks to a photo that was discovered in her dress pocket, that Jennie was engaged to a childhood friend named Johnston Skelly, whose nickname was Jack, or that she at least had deep feelings for him, because photos were expensive and you wouldn't just
Yeah.
give them away to somebody.
You'd have to be like down bad for someone back then to have a photo of them. Because again, not cheap at all.
No engagement announcement of any kind or wedding was listed officially prior to him enlisting in the 87th Division of the Pennsylvania Infantry, where he was a corporal. So it's hard to say. Like, we don't know if maybe they had one of those, they're not really war weddings, but something where like you would get married before somebody went off to war. It wouldn't always make it into the papers. It could be like a small family affair. It's been lost to time if that's the case. So.
Yeah, like, hey, you might die, so let's get hitched in case you don't come back.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's get hitched so we can have a baby. We can try for a baby before you go.
Yes.
Yep. Now, at the time of the 3-day American Civil War Battle of Gettysburg, Jennie was staying in the home of her sister, Georgia, who had given birth to her first child, Lewis Kenneth McClellan, on June 26th of 1863. And Georgia's bed had been moved into the parlor where she slept as she recovered from his birth. So Georgia lived in a 2-story red brick duplex at 548 Baltimore Street in Gettysburg with her husband and the McLean family, who occupied the upper portion of the home. And her husband, who joined the Union Army as a private, was absent for his son's birth and also not in Gettysburg during the 3-day battle. So I don't know where he was.
Wow.
But he wasn't there. On July 1st, a day after General John Buford's Union cavalrymen strolled into town, Jennie and her mother moved into Georgia's home, not only to help care for her and young Lewis, but to also hopefully stay safe from the coming conflict, because they had all of their guns and all of the things, and they were just coming into town.
Yeah, that'd be spooky.
Not
scary.
Intimidating at all.
Yeah. Perfect example is the following day on July 2nd, an artillery shell crashed through the roof into the McLean section of the duplex.
Oh my gosh.
Thankfully, it didn't detonate, although it would continue to remain in the home for the next 15 years.
That's insane.
They're like, you know what? We've been needing to zhuzh up this room a little bit. This is just what we needed.
This is our new theme. It's called No Touchy.
It's called Danger.
Yeah.
This is the danger zone.
It's called
Danger zone.
Leave.
Yeah.
Back up.
Back
Called
up.
No Touchy. On the morning of July 3rd, 1863, a bullet flew through the parlor window, struck one of the bedposts, and landed on the pillow right next to George's head, which is just how you
Casual.
want to wake up in the morning.
Georgia's the one that gave birth, right?
Yes.
So in the same year that she pushed a human being out of her, she wakes up one day and there's just a bullet right there. Like, hey.
Yeah, this is like not even like a full week after she gave birth to her kid.
Wow.
Casual.
Yeah.
You're also not like sleep deprived. She probably thought that she was dreaming.
Yeah.
Probably
She's
did.
finally a moment of rest and then bam,
Like,
bullet.
what's this really warm thing on my pillow?
Yeah.
That's like singeing the cotton of my pillow.
Moms can't get no rest.
Nope.
By the time the battle was over, all the windows on the northern side of the home had been shot out in the crossfire, and it's estimated that over 150 bullets struck the home during the course of the Gettysburg conflict.
I can't even fathom that.
No.
Genuinely.
No.
Like, I can't even fathom like 4 shots in a house, let alone it becoming Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
Because those shells would do a lot of damage.
Well, and it was just bullets, not like artillery shells, but still, like, it's a
But
brick
still.
house. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I would not survive during that time because my dumb ass would go outside and be like, "Could you guys just stop? Could you like this is expensive. You are
Do you know how expensive windows are, sir?
Yeah. Do you know how expensive this is? Who's going to pay it? I'm not paying it. I didn't cause the damage."
I am a renter in this home. So that same morning, Jennie woke up early to fetch water and knead dough to bake bread and biscuits. And as she was kneading bread, which she intended to give to the Union soldiers that were fighting, two 58 caliber rifle bullets tore through both the entrance and kitchen doors, striking Jennie in the shoulder and the heart, killing her instantly.
Jesus.
That's insane.
The bullet that struck her in the heart was trapped due to the corset she was wearing. She was 20 years old and the only civilian casualty of the 3-day Battle of Gettysburg.
Which that blows my mind.
Mhm.
Like,
That is-
out of all that chaos, she was the only one.
Yeah. Which is
Yeah.
amazing, but also devastating.
Yeah. Her sister George's screams after she was shot alerted Union soldiers who were fighting outside. They quickly rushed into the home, which wouldn't be terrifying, escorting the family out the back to ensure their safety from Confederate fire. So I'm not sure, in thinking of the layout of the house, if they took them out by where the root cellar was, perhaps.
They probably went through the
Well-
gift shop. Just casually.
Just
They're
casually,
like, well,
yeah.
This will one day be a gift shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? They're just like, this is a good space for a gift shop. Anyways.
Yeah.
Carry
Let's
on.
get out of here. And although Jennie passed before it was done, a day after her death, her mother finished baking the bread for the soldiers, which ended up becoming 15 loaves that were distributed.
Wow.
Yeah, that would have been a lot of proving of that
Yeah.
dough. That dough would have like quadrupled in that time.
Yeah, and could you imagine her mom going up to every soldier and be like, "You're gonna eat this and you're gonna like it. I don't care if you're gluten-free. Like, my daughter died making this for you.
Yep.
Eat it."
You're going to choke down every last crumb of this bread.
Yeah.
The Union soldiers also helped her family wrap her body in a quilt before transporting her to the cellar, where her body lay until it could be buried in the backyard in a coffin that had originally been intended for the burial of Confederate General William Barksdale.
Damn.
Sorry,
Shit.
Barksdale.
They were like, "Sorry, sir, no."
Could you imagine if he was already in the coffin and they're literally just like
roll them out.
Yeah. Like, two soldiers at the very end are just like, "Okay, 1, 2, 3, yeet." And he just like flies off and they're like, "Okay, let's put Jennie in here."
Yep. She was then disinterred in January of 1864 and relocated to the German Reformed Church before she was finally laid to rest in November of 1865 in Evergreen Cemetery, where a flag flies perpetually over her grave.
That's so much movement.
I know.
So much movement of a body. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Fun fact, hers is one of the few sites in the United States where a flag continuously flies in honor of a woman. The only other woman to receive this honor is Betsy Ross.
Interesting.
I feel like there should be more.
There should be way more.
For people that don't know who Betsy Ross is, she made the American flag. Like the original American flag.
Okay, because my Canadian ass was like, I don't want to ask because I feel like I should know.
But not everybody
But-
knows. Like she made the
Not everybody
original American flag.
Okay.
Jennie's sweetheart, Jack, passed away on July 12, 1863, after sustaining wounds during the Second Battle of Winchester in June, which that's a long time to be suffering from bullet wounds.
Yeah.
That's awful.
20 years later, in 1882, Jennie's mother was able to successfully petition for a government pension following her daughter's death, which good for her.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And I had to include this because it was so cringy. But according to an article from the Harrisburg Telegraph that was published in the December 10th, 1863 edition of the Chicago Tribune, quote, "Sweet Jennie Wade perished in the din of that awful fray, and she now sleeps where the flowers once bloomed, and the perfume-laden air wafted lovingly over Cemetery Hill. Before the battle, and while the national hosts were awaiting the assault of the traitor foe, Jennie Wade was busily engaged in baking bread for the national troops. She occupied a house in range of the guns of both armies, and the rebels had sternly ordered her to leave the premises, but this she as sternly refused to do. While she was busily engaged in her patriotic work, a Minnie ball pierced her pure breast, and she fell a holy sacrifice in her country's cause. Almost at the same time, a rebel officer of high rank fell near where Jennie Wade had perished. The rebels at once proceeded to prepare a coffin for their fallen leader, but about the time that was finished, the surging of the conflict changed the positions of the armies, and Jennie Wade's body was placed in the coffin designed for her country's enemy. Let a monument be erected on the ground which covers her, before which the pilgrims to the holy tombs of the heroes of Gettysburg can bow and bless the memory of Jennie Wade. If the people of Gettysburg are not able alone to raise the funds to pay for a suitable monument for Jennie Wade, let them send a committee to Harrisburg, and our little boys and girls will assist in soliciting subscriptions for this holy purpose. Before the summer sunshine again kisses the grave of Jennie Wade, before the summer birds once more carol where she sleeps in glory, before the flowers again deck the plain made famous by gallant deeds, let a monument rise to greet the skies in tokens of virtue, daring, and nobleness." End quote.
Gross.
I hate it. I hate it.
Ew.
Yeah.
So embarrassing.
Ew.
A monument such as the one the Telegraph described wouldn't be erected until 1900. So it took a little while. Those boys and girls didn't sell enough subscriptions fast enough.
They really didn't. They really dropped the ball there.
They really dropped the ball there.
Yeah.
Dicks.
Eesh.
The history and memory of Jennie is kept very much alive thanks in part to the Jennie Wade House Museum. The brochure for the self-guided tour of the home highlights the fact that the building has been restored from the attic to the cellar to what it would have been like in the mid-19th century. It also points out the bullet holes in the entrance and kitchen doors where the fatal .58 caliber bullets entered the McClellan section of the residence. And on the other side of the door is located the original dough tray where she had been standing kneading dough to provide bread for the soldiers. And the
Dark.
bed in which her sister Georgia slept is also in the parlor, the downstairs parlor.
Super dark.
Mm-hmm.
The upstairs contains the sleeping quarters of the McLean family. You can also see the hole where the artillery shell tore through the roof. It is still up there.
Okay.
Yep.
During the tour, you enter first the room of Mr. John Isaac and Catherine McLean, and the second bedroom contains the beds for their 4 children. They lived in the southern section of the home, and the items that they used to furnish their section of the duplex were much nicer than those of Georgia and her husband, because Mr. McLean was a stonemason by trade and a skilled laborer, and so due to his profession, he was able to
Fancy.
provide much finer goods for his family.
In other words, he was rich.
He was rich.
Got that
And-
stonemason money.
Yes. And conversely, John Lewis McClellan, Georgia's husband, was still serving in the army in July of 1863, and since he was receiving meager soldier's pay, he and his wife couldn't yet afford any type of nicer furnishings than they currently had. Lastly, a display case in the McLean's parlor contains a number of original artifacts from the home, such as the 10-pound Parrott artillery shell that entered the home on July 2nd, and a section of the original floorboard from the McClellan kitchen that is stained with Jennie's blood.
Okay, I don't like that one.
No.
A little much, you know?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
why
Yeah.
do
like
we
that one.
why do we need to see
No,
her blood
no
after all
thanks.
these years? It's just
Yeah.
it's a little much.
Like,
Not
we're
a fan.
good.
Well, why don't you regale us with the paranormal aspect of the Jennie Wade house, Miss Allie?
Oh, yes, the spooky stuff. So, I mean, given the house's history, it's no surprise that people think it's haunted. And of
Right.
course, people think that it's haunted by no one other than Jennie Wade. So, it could be because she tragically died at the house. Obviously, that could be a reason why she's still there. It could be because she died and she was waiting for her lover, Jack. That could be a reason. However, no one really knows why she's still kicking around. Nonetheless,
Mm.
people still flock to visit the home with hopes to not only learn more about the history, as Lindsay just went over, but to also witness something ooky, spooky, paranormal. The
Mm-hmm.
dookie.
Ooh.
Yes. So, according to witness accounts, many have laid witness to a misty apparition of a woman wandering the home. Sometimes she is within the kitchen. Other times she is looking out the second floor window onto the street.
Typical.
Right? Just
Like
randomly
like
staring out a
Hallmark
window.
ghost behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? Also, like, super sexist. They're like, well, she's either in the kitchen or like aimlessly looking out the
Or
window.
she's
She
like
is.
kidnapped in the attic, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Please come help me."
Help me. I don't know what else to do other than be in the kitchen. Like, come on, Hallmark, let's get it together. Now, after the visitors have seen her, they'll, I don't know, maybe be outside talking about it, and someone that is well known to the house or works there will be like, hey, what are you guys talking about? Oh, we just saw some random misty woman hanging around,
As one does.
as one does. And that's when they realize, like, hey, no one was in the house before you. No one's in there now. You saw a ghost.
Creepy.
Yeah, very
Mhm.
creepy. So then there are the EVPs, aka electric voice phenomena, that have been captured within the home. Many of the female sounding EVPs caught within the home have also been tied to Jennie, which isn't much of a stretch to assume that people have
Right.
thought that,
Mhm.
because I'm not sure if anyone else has died in the house after Jennie, but she's kind of the most popular, to say the least. I mean, it's named
Yeah.
after her, for crying out loud. So, weirdly enough, though, one EVP in particular was of someone, perhaps Jennie, saying she was pregnant during one paranormal show. So they caught an EVP of a woman saying, "I'm pregnant," and they're like, "Was Jennie pregnant?" And unfortunately, we don't know that. I mean, we talked about how her and Jack allegedly may have been married
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
secret, and maybe that was why, or maybe they got married because they wanted to have a baby before he went off to war, and then she didn't know. Like, it was a different era where, you didn't have the, was it first, I want to say first response. Is it first response, the pregnancy test?
Yeah, I
I
think
think
so.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't have a stick to pee on as quick and as accessible as, well, at all back then. So,
Mhm.
needless to say, if she knew, she might not have known.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Others believe that is truly Jennie's spirit remaining within the home due to the smell of fresh bread that visitors claim to experience when in the home's kitchen. I mean, kind of on the nose there. Other visitors associate sudden and unexplainable stomach aches and utter sadness whilst walking through the home, which they tie to being Jennie's spirit influencing them. It's a lot of loose
So
accusations.
dark.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
that is the case, that I think that would be the most devastating sensation,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
that's Jennie losing her baby as she's dying. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
no.
Yep.
If
Yeah.
anything tried to make me feel like that, I don't know if I could ever come back from that. Like, that
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
be
It'd be a little heavy.
really hard to reconcile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Extremely heavy. And like, you can't, that's when that would be a feeling you couldn't shake off. And
No.
you can be empathetic to a degree where you physically feel what someone might have felt or what someone may be
Mhm.
feeling. But, and listen, I'm a believer in the paranormal. I feel as though that kind of energy would be beyond empathy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it'd be so intense, right?
You'd just be soaking in it, like drowning
Absolutely.
in the emotion.
Absolutely. Now, Jenny isn't the only one who allegedly haunts the home. According to some resources, such as one man that was interviewed during a good old Ghost Adventures episode, and this
Nice.
episode was from way back, like back when it was only Nick, Aaron, and what was the other guy's name? Nick, Aaron, and I want to say Jeff. Zach.
Well,
Oh my god. Nick, you know, that guy Jeff that hosts the show. You can tell I haven't watched in a couple months because I'm like, who hosts that show? Yeah, Zach.
Jeff.
Jeff.
Oh geez. So yeah, it was way back when it was just the three of them, not Jeff, full Zach. Like cringe Zach. Like cringe Zach. Zach is still cringy now, but I feel as though back then he was like
he was like
10.
dude bro Zach. Like
dude bro Zach with like very spiky hair, acid wash jeans. He would make the
Trying to sound
worst
threatening.
Yeah, and the worst comments.
Yeah.
Just ugh. So way back then. Anyways, this man was interviewed on the show at the Jennie Wade House, and this guy basically was like, yeah, James Wade Sr. is apparently haunting the basement, but doesn't really give an explanation that's tangible. The only explanation that he provides is that so Jenny's dad was in and out of prison, so he was in and out of Eastern State Penitentiary, apparently, allegedly, and then he was institutionalized. So they're like, well, because of that, he definitely haunts the basement. It's like A plus B, not equaling C here.
Yeah,
This is
how'd you
like-
get there? That's quite
Yeah.
the leap in logic, yeah.
Yep. Now, there is, again, allegedly, everything's alleged, there is allegedly a very aggressive spirit down in the basement, so people kind of tie the two in. They're like, okay, well, maybe it's her dad because, you know, Jenny wasn't pushing people around and nobody else was, but I feel like that's a little stereotypical, just to be like, oh, well, he was in and out of prison, so obviously his spirit's the one haunting in the basement because it's aggressive down there. It's like, no, it's not.
I bet it's Confederate General William Barksdale.
Probably.
Like,
revenge.
This bitch took my coffin.
Yeah, I'm gonna push some people around.
I'm gonna push people. I'm still mad about this.
Yeah, I'm
Disrespect
still mad.
your surroundings.
Yeah. It's exactly what it is. Like every day.
Every night.
So visitors report that they have experienced being pushed, grabbed, or even scratched whilst in the basement. And nobody knows why. Nobody knows what's going on. It's just it's basically Warped Tour mosh pit down in the basement. Just chaos. Absolute chaos.
Bad boy Billy Barksdale.
Basically. Other paranormal phenomena that has supposedly occurred at the Jennie Wade House includes random tapping on doors, people witnessing shadow figures dart around the home, specifically in the basement, so that's cute. Love that. Along with people hearing loud, unexpected bangs come from seemingly out of nowhere. Lastly,
I would hate that. Like,
right? Like you're
just
just
like going down a hallway or something, and you hear like just like an explosive noise to your right.
No,
it's the ghost of the artillery shell.
It's the ghost of the artillery shell. Yeah, every so often, every couple of years, you know, just hey guys,
it's me. Hi,
I'm the shell. It's me. Hi. So lastly, and this is a phenomena that I'm not always behind or that I necessarily think is substantial, but anyways, orbs have been apparently witnessed around the home with little to no explanation. And lastly, but not least, people have felt random cold spots throughout the home. So people think that if you feel a random cold spot in your home, it's not because you need new insulation, it's because there's a spirit there. Spirits apparently have the ability to change temperature.
No, thank you.
No.
Well, and given the fact that this home, I'm assuming, is not very well insulated,
right?
If they kept it true to what it was in the 19th century,
yeah.
If it's a super hot day and then there's a random cold spot, then yeah, I would tend to lean more towards maybe something's going on. Because if I recall,
Not quite right.
There weren't any fans or anything in the house, and they had like all the windows
No.
closed when you
And
were
there was no central air. My ass
No.
was sweating because we
Yeah.
went, it was like the last weekend of August going into September.
Yep.
It was hot.
It was
I
hot
hate
and humid.
that.
Hot, humid, no cold spots. Would have appreciated a cold spot if you're
Yeah.
listening, Jennie Wade House ghosts. Hello. Global warming, it's making things hotter.
Thanks, Billy.
Yeah. So that's kind of like in a nutshell some of the hauntings at the Jennie Wade House. It's one
Okay.
of those locations where it's dubbed as one of the most haunted places, but there isn't a lot, like, there's not a lot of big paranormal crews that go there, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because they just want to keep it for the tours, or they don't want to, have somebody or like a group of people going in and out and disrupting things, which is totally fair and
Mm.
understandable.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to hear from your listeners, like if anyone has gone there and if anyone's experienced anything. I know when we went, the only thing that really fucked me up was the basement,
Mm-hmm.
because in the basement, and I'll pull up the picture, but in the basement, I don't know why I still have this on my phone. They basically have a body in the basement. Why am I skirting on the issue? They have a fake body in the basement
I hate that.
to represent, Jenny being down there. Which, why? Like, what is the purpose? We all know she was down there at one point. Why?
Like you could have just left the quilt there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
But no, like, there she
No.
is.
there's like a fake
No.
body there. And
Absolutely not.
the thing that kills me is there's no mannequins in any other section of the house.
No,
Like,
that's the
at
only
all.
one. No,
I hate that. No.
no.
It's like,
Thank you.
if you're gonna do mannequins, be consistent. Like, don't
Be
just have one
consistent.
random mannequin in the house in the most
Yeah.
horrible place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a good look.
On top of that, the only other thing, so I did take my EMF reader when we went, and there was a spike in the EMF reader, not substantial that I was like, oh my god, this is insane, but enough where it was just a difference. When we were standing outside near the bullet hole, like
Mhm.
where the door
Okay.
at the door, it jumped a little bit, which was odd because it's outside. And look, I'm not an electrician. Please don't come for me. I just like spooky things, and this made a lot of beeping sounds. And I was like, ooh, this is interesting. But it jumped from nothing to 0.55 outside as I was like
And
facing
it
the
wasn't
hole.
near anything that would have had electricity.
No,
Like,
that's
Okay.
the thing. Yeah. I'm going to send you guys the photos as well.
because it was like a few inches into the door from the doorknob.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't have been touching anything electrical.
No.
Okay.
No. So
So-
that was weird. Other than that, I didn't feel anything substantially. I
Mm-mm.
think Emily's pretty sensitive to the
Mhm.
spiritual side of things,
Mm.
but it's also just a very small house.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they shove everybody in at once. So I feel as though if you could have more time in like a small group or even on your own, you might experience something, just given its history
Yeah.
and given the accusations. But it was like the afternoon on Labor Day weekend,
Mhm.
Super hot.
a
crowded.
cajillion degrees outside. It was, yeah.
And maybe that's part of why they don't have a lot of paranormal things in there, because it's really creaky. So, like, you could hear people going up and down the stairs, walking upstairs. So I would imagine it'd be hard to do any sort of actual paranormal investigation unless you just set stuff up and then we're out of the house.
Yeah, unless you just like had a static cam on every
Mhm.
floor, which I still feel like that would be a good, like, I'd watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello. Easy consumerism here, but
You could probably hang out in the cellar because
ugh.
you wouldn't be able to hear anything really. But
The cellar has bad juju. Like,
yeah,
it's not fun down there. Like at
no.
that place, if
Most sellers aren't fun.
no, if any place in that dwelling gives off bad vibes, it's the fucking basement. And it's not like the mannequin alone, yes, but
Yeah.
also it's just like you just feel like someone's there, or like that someone
Yeah.
died down there.
It's an oppressive feeling. Like, it doesn't
Yes.
feel like Like the
That's
air
so
doesn't
good.
feel weird or anything, but it just, yeah, it's like your internal like danger meter kind of goes off a little bit. Like
Yeah.
something's not right here.
Yeah. I think at one point I just kept staring at the mannequin because I'm like, is it gonna move?
Oh no.
Like, is this
Absolutely not.
a
Absolutely
secret
not.
haunted house and it's actually a person they're gonna
No,
move?
thank you.
But yeah, that in a nutshell is the haunting at the Jennie Wade House that I could find. All fun, all great.
Well, I have 3 reviews that people have posted about the Jennie Wade House, and they're pretty entertaining. The first one is from user Ari Mark. Subject is The Icy Cold Spots in the Jennie Wade Gift Shop, June 2011. The coldest spot in Gettysburg was from the clerks in the Jennie Wade Gift Shop. It ranged from indifference to silent contempt. It's in their mannerisms and lack of simple manners. It was downright uncomfortable. There's no verbal exchange before, during, and after the purchase. They
Yeah.
only spoke amongst themselves and never made eye contact. What's up with that? Hire someone with people skills, like saying hello, thank you, and goodbye. The ones there in June 2011 were clearly annoyed to have to take our money. We all laughed about it over dinner, but you should be aware of it. In parentheses, if you care.
If you care.
Yeah.
If you care.
So it's quite the staff, I guess. Dang.
Yeah.
What year did we travel? It was 21?
No, hold on. I gotta look at the photos. It was 2022.
22.
So like
even when
then,
we went, like it's probably not the same staff, but
or is
cold?
or it was, I don't know, but they were not very
they weren't nice.
warm
They
or
weren't.
welcoming.
No, and the gift shop's kind of weird because I understand they need to make money to like maintain and everything, but there was I would have expected not things I could find at Walmart.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the odd thing.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that you could find at like any other gift shop.
Just like your standard, like, hospital-esque.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
very little actual Jennie Wade stuff.
Bummer.
Yeah. You have to go through the gift shop to get into the tour, which is bonkers
Weird.
to me, but
Yeah.
whatever. So they pile you all into this gift shop and then they like push you out into this little alleyway into the Jennie Wade house, and I don't know, you just feel like sheep. Like just hot,
Yeah.
sweaty, cranky sheep.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's just how you want to feel.
Yeah.
And with that segue, the second review is from user Brittany C. Subject line is "A little warning would have been nice!" Exclamation point. This is from March 2020. My mom, 6-year-old son, and I visited the Jennie Wade House while visiting Gettysburg for our spring break. We enjoyed the tour, and we thought the tour guide did a great job giving us the idea of what it was like for civilians during the battle. I would give this 5 stars, but when you get to the last part of the tour, the cellar, there's a mannequin of a dead Jennie Wade covered in a blanket to show what the family did with her body while they waited for the remainder of the battle. An eerie gray hand was sticking out of the blanket. It was pretty freaky, especially for my 6-year-old, who took one look and ran back up the stairs. I would have appreciated a heads up about the cellar so that I could have made a decision to not take him down for that part of the tour. It gave the tour a weird feel after that.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't a necessary part and not kid or family friendly. There could have been a bench laid out to the quilt to simply show where they could have laid her body. I wish they would rethink that part. Other than that, really enjoyed it.
Other than that, it was okay.
It was great.
It was great.
That was definitely the weirdest part of the tour.
Fuck that mannequin.
As soon as you said it, I was like, nah, no.
Nah,
Doesn't
dog.
pass the vibe check. Doesn't pass the vibe check.
No, we're not doing it.
No.
The third one we have is from user Corey Wiltrout. The subject is "Don't pass this up," and this is from March 2021. A must-see while you visit Gettysburg. You can still see the bullet holes in the house and in the door. Cute gift shop to get all the goodies. If you get lucky like we did, you can still smell the cigar smoke in the air from Jenny's dad's cigar. This is my Facebook post from our last night staying next door to the Jennie Wade House.
I forgot about this one.
So Kenny and I are outside our hotel room, sitting right by the Jennie Wade House, and I smell cigar smoke. I asked Kenny Wiltrout, "Do you smell cigar smoke?" About a half hour later, a ghost tour walks by, and the guy was telling the history of the house, and we were listening. He says, "It is haunted, but they don't think it is Jenny. They believe it's her dad, and some say they can still smell his cigar smoke in the air." 3 open-faced surprise emojis. Oh my gosh. I got chills. Laughing emoji.
It's so good. It's so good. I don't know why, but
It's probably some dude that was smoking his cigar and then he
Yeah,
put it out.
dudes who smoke cigars. Like,
It's just
I bet
yeah.
they work there or something.
yeah.
They're like,
Kenny Wiltrout.
Hey, Kenny Wiltrout.
"Do you smell cigar smoke?" Because I do.
Interpretive dance by Corey Wiltrout.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And that's the Jennie Wade House.
It is worth going to check out, I will say.
Yeah.
Like it's an interesting piece of American history. If you want to shit your pants, check out the basement.
Yeah. Well, and
Okay.
interestingly, like the cemetery where she is buried is like right next door. Like you have to walk a little ways, but it's right there. So it's actually not that far.
We didn't go there, did we?
No, we didn't. We were at that point we were like, we are hot. We were trying to find
We want to not be here anymore.
Yeah, we were trying to find another museum we could go into that had air conditioning.
Oh yeah, that wasn't like astronomically expensive.
Yeah, because everything
Yeah.
is like $20
Cocktail
just
isn't
to get in.
Yeah.
$10.
$20 USD for any Canadians listening, which you know is like $1 million Canadian.
If you love the show, the best way to support us is to leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Good Pods, Castbox, Podcast Addict, and or Audible. Links to all of these are in our show notes, or if you're already listening on one of these platforms, you know what to do.
Oh, and while you're at it, shoot us a question you'd like to hear us answer on the pod. We'll give you a special shout out and address your burning questions all at the same time. The weirder, the better. Submit them via link in our show notes or shoot them to us in our DMs.
All right. Well, I have a new question this time. So we
Amazing.
we answered a question from Carrie Ann last time, but I picked a new one this time.
Okay.
So,
Ooh, okay.
would you rather rescue each other from a room full of spiders or a room on fire?
Easy, room on fire. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Fire.
Yeah, I'm sure the room it'd be both.
Inevitably, the spider room would become a room on fire because I would burn it
Well, yeah.
while I'm still in it,
Yeah.
trying to escape.
Yeah. Absolutely. And they always say there's always a spider within like a couple feet or meters of you. Like there's always a spider nearby. So like technically speaking, it's kind of both.
Yeah, that's true.
Ugh.
Yeah, I would do that too. I'd be like grabbing one of my matches or lighters and just like burning the
Setting
room
it
as I'm
ablaze.
trying to run away.
Yeah. There's just something about spiders. I don't know what it is.
Hate it.
Oof.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Hate it.
But then I'd have to do like, if it's the room that I'm currently in, which is my office, I would have to like grab Charlie before I leave and be
Save
like, save the
Charlie.
snake. Just grab Charlie and run.
But if it was a room full of spiders, Charlie could just eat them, right?
He doesn't really eat spiders. Like snakes don't really,
Mm.
because their big thing is they bite
Or-
and then they strangle because
Oh,
they
right.
constrict
Can't really
around them.
strangle a spider.
I mean, if it's big enough, you could, but I wouldn't. Blech. No thanks.
Bleh.
All right.
No.
We wouldn't be here without support from listeners like you. If you're interested in supporting us financially, you can leave a one-time or monthly donation over on Buy Me a Coffee or our Venmo page. Links are in the show notes. And we make a point of reaching out to send you a thank you note and stickers to show our appreciation.
Want to show your support in a more concrete way? Pick up some Yield Crime merch over at our TeePublic shop. We shout out whenever there is a sale each month, and we work to make sure we're creating new designs and changing it up whenever possible. And hey, thanks for listening.
On that note, what's something good you'd like to share? I believe last time we talked about some like books we read recently.
Yeah.
So we could do that again if you want.
Yeah. I'll shout out the book that I mentioned last time before I mucked this entire the first recording up completely, and my mic decided to not work anymore. It was like, oh, Alex is talking. You can tell it's been a long time since I have recorded. So I recently read a book that I'd like to recommend. It's by Laura Dave, and it's called The Night We Lost Him. I will say there's extra fluff in areas of the book where I don't think it's necessary, but overall it's a really easy read. And if you're like me and you download the Goodreads app because you're like, I need to read more, and now you have to read 10 books before the end of 2024, add it to your list. You'll be done it within, like, I think I finished it in 2 weeks.
Nice.
So, yeah, that is my recommendation.
Awesome.
I'm on my Goodreads app and I'm looking at it right now. This is the one that I mentioned last time. So it's called The Blackbird Girls, and it's by Anne Blankman. And it tells the story of the Chernobyl disaster through the eyes of these two young girls that are, I think they're young teenagers or they're like preteens. And the Chernobyl disaster is more of a backdrop to their story. And it's more about the two girls and their relationship. The one girl is Jewish. The other one used to bully her.
Oh.
They both end up having to go to stay with the Jewish girl's grandmother because they have to leave Chernobyl, obviously. I don't want to spoil the whole book, but it's really good. It has to do a lot with learning the value of family and finding your faith and
tolerance, from the sounds of it.
Tolerance. It was really good. Very well written.
Nice.
So great young adult book if you are interested in learning a little bit more about the Chernobyl disaster. But yeah, again, it's just kind of a backdrop to their coming of age stories. We'll just say that.
That sounds interesting. I still have it on my list from last time, the original recording. So
yep.
Nice. And just like last time for me, I didn't read nothing, but I've been baking. But I be baking.
But I be baking. I ain't reading, but I be baking. Love it.
So I've been dabbling with. I made some brown butter like toffee cookies.
That sounds so good.
They were so good. And then I made some toffee syrup from scratch for our coffees in the morning.
Ooh,
nice.
And then we were running low on bread, so I made some bread rolls, and then I made homemade honey cinnamon butter, so it could be like Texas Roadhouse rolls.
Nice.
And then my latest was just a sandwich bread loaf that I've been munching on for like the past 2 days. It's going to be done by tonight, I think.
Amazing.
Because I've been wanting toast this whole time. Just like dreaming of toast. Because I love that like fresh bread when you microwave it. Like after like just the first day, and it's got that same texture.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yep. It's just a part of your brain, and it's just like, ooh, yes.
Yep. So that's what I've been doing. I just be baking.
I just be baking.
I just be baking.
Well, on that note, shall we?
Do it.
We love to hear from you, and there's a couple of ways you can reach out to us. You can email us at yeoldecrimepodcast@gmail.com, where you can send us story ideas, share any spooky stories you may have, fun gifts, or even just to say hello.
You can also reach out to us via snail mail. Remember mail? Our mailing address is Ye Olde Crime Podcast, P.O. Box 341, Wyoming, Minnesota 55092. Fun fact, we like to send out thank you cards with fun stickers you can't get at our shop, so it's worth the cost of a stamp.
And on that note, as always, I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Madison.
And I'm Alex.
And we'll see you next time with another tale
as old as crime.
Yeehaw!
Yeah!